I was reborn with Rowan Jiang, but he doesn't know it. He thinks I'm still the love-struck person from my past life. I provided him with the best material conditions, sent him to the best university, and even supported his entrepreneurship at the cost of my family's bankruptcy. In the end, I was drained of my value and kicked aside. After everything was done, I had to drag my nemesis in front of me and say, finally, I no longer have to endure the humiliation he brought me with his money. In this life, I swear I will never give him even a single penny. When choosing a one-on-one sponsorship recipient, he stood in front of me, proud and confident, but I deliberately overlooked him and chose the poor soul next to him. I am representing the GU family at the annual charity donation event. To show the importance of the beneficiaries, each year we select one recipient for one-on-one sponsorship, with our people directly connecting with them. In my past life, I immediately took a liking to Rowan Jiang among the many beneficiaries. Unfortunately, he was an ungrateful person. This time, I specifically informed Xie Qinghan before going. She is my arch-nemesis and also Rowan Jiang's first love. In my past life, Rowan Jiang mentioned more than once in front of me that Xie Qinghan had a crush on him even before I sponsored him. It was I who used money to block their love. This time, let me see if Xie Qinghan ever looked at him with any regard before Rowan Jiang became my boyfriend. When Xie Qinghan and I arrived at the funding hall, all the relevant people had already gathered. There were about 100 people standing densely in the hall. I spotted Rowan Jiang at a glance. I have to say, in terms of aesthetics, my taste is quite good, standing at over 1.8 meters tall, with a slender figure and snow-white skin, among a group of simple, impoverished students. Rowan Jiang stood out like a crane among chickens. Noticing my gaze, Rowan Jiang straightened his posture and raised his chin even higher. I know he has also been reborn like me, once worth nearly 10 billion. Mr. Jiang has returned to the time when he was still a poor student, and I wonder if he will adapt. Facing the humiliation that the person I hate the most is about to bring him, I wonder how he will react. I walked in with great enthusiasm. The school officials were very warm to me, constantly thanking our GU group for giving underprivileged students a chance to study with peace of mind. You see, even the bystanders know how to be grateful, but just because of my affection, Rowan Jiang regarded all my efforts as humiliation, and this time, I decided to withdraw my affection. I hope he will be satisfied. I was modest for a few sentences. This is all necessary, as it is fulfilling a company's social responsibility. Next, we move on to the next segment. The school staff conducted a round of screening based on academic performance, awards, and other criteria, recommending 10 candidates. I need to select one person as a one-on-one sponsorship recipient. I sat at the conference table, and the person in charge asked the candidates to line up and introduce themselves to me one by one in order. They are all outstanding, but due to limited material conditions, it is difficult for them to go further. Our intention in providing funding is to offer them a boat to help them cross the first river that stands in their way. The person being introduced looked at me with gratitude and eagerness. Everyone knows that one-on-one sponsorship recipients inevitably receive more resources and have the opportunity to move towards a broader future. Soon, I was introduced to Rowan Jiang. He is indeed outstanding, consistently ranking in the top 10 and has won various provincial and national awards. The person in charge has high hopes for him and asked him to say a few words alone to deepen my impression. Rowan Jiang did not appreciate it and coldly said, "Hello." The person in charge had a dark expression. Rowan Jiang was indifferent. He looked at me with arrogance and disdain. In my past life, after listening to Rowan Jiang's introduction, I directly skipped the following candidates and designated him as the one-on-one sponsorship recipient. He must have thought this time would be the same. Unfortunately, I turned to the person in charge and said, "No pressure, let's meet the next student." Rowan Jiang was taken aback and did not leave immediately. The person in charge immediately urged, "Jiang, please do not waste time." Rowan Jiang shot me a cold glance and turned to leave. "You see, if I hadn't chosen you, you wouldn't even be qualified to stand in front of me." I couldn't even be bothered to spare a glance and continued to listen to the next candidate's information. After listening to everything, I chose Shenhui. He has never won any awards, but he has always been first in his grades. Moreover, he is the only one with a scar on his face. It is said that it was caused by his alcoholic father. He seemed to have no expectations until I announced that I had chosen him. Only then did he look at me with his dull, lifeless eyes and say, "Thank you." Rowan Jiang was unconvinced and sarcastically remarked, "A bookworm who only studies." Shenhui pressed his lips tightly together and remained silent. However, I had no intention of indulging him any longer. "Are you bullying your classmates with language?" "Candidate," I spoke coldly. Rowan Jiang first looked at me in surprise, then showed a subtle expression of "I see. You just want to deliberately attract my attention." I felt so disgusted that I almost threw up. Rowan Jiang was even more composed and aloof. "I'm just speaking the truth. So, you don't think your actions are wrong?" I couldn't be bothered to talk to him and directly turned to the school officials. "Is this the candidate you have selected? I have doubts about the character of this funding recipient. What I want to support is a future talent who can pass on this kindness. This student treats his classmates with such arrogance and mockery. I seriously doubt whether he will lend a helping hand to the weak when he has the ability." I deliberately put a cap on him, increasing his value. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't want to waste my kindness on such a thankless wolf. Sure enough, my words caught the attention of the school authorities. The person in charge quickly stepped in and demanded that Rowan Jiang apologize to Shenhui immediately, or else his funding would be revoked. Rowan Jiang looked at me angrily. I didn't even glance at him. Didn't I say that the money I spent on him was all a humiliation for him? I want to see if the dignified General Jiang will lower himself to beg me for humiliation over that small amount of funding. I will not apologize. Rowan Jiang is very tough. Don't think that money can make me yield. One day, I, Rowan Jiang, will show you what it means to not underestimate a young person in poverty. Rowan Jiang speaks with righteous indignation. Everyone is speechless. So not funding him is bullying him. What a big face he has. In the midst of a moment of silence, a round of applause suddenly broke out. It was Xie Qinghan. She walked over to me while clapping her hands. "With such a principled classmate, Tessa, you can't bully her." Xie Qinghan, with a green tea demeanor, was trying to speak up for Rowan Jiang, immediately attempting to label me as someone who bullies poor students. Rowan Jiang's eyes lit up even more when he saw her. I could only imagine what kind of touching scene was playing out in his heart, with the little white flower secretly in love with him standing up for him under immense pressure. Unfortunately, I could see the smirk of glee at the corner of Xie Qinghan's mouth. She just wanted to use Rowan Jiang to annoy me. I won't be as foolish as before, letting her turn a good person into a bad one with just a couple of words. But he was the one who refused to apologize first. I deliberately looked at Rowan Jiang with a disdainful gaze. He indeed raised his chin and glared at me, saying, "I did nothing wrong." I pretended to be helpless and took a breath. Our GU group will absolutely not fund someone who does not understand the importance of unity among classmates. However, I changed the subject. "Since you, Xie Qinghan, think so highly of this student, why don't you have the Xie family sponsor him?" As soon as the words were spoken, Rowan Jiang's eyes lit up, looking at Xie Qinghan with anticipation, but Xie Qinghan stammered, showing a difficult expression. In the end, she casually replied, "I'll go back and discuss it with my family." For me, she was just an unimportant daughter of a side branch of the Xie family. It would be a miracle if any results came from such discussions. But seeing Rowan Jiang's smug face, as if he would still have Xie Qinghan's support even without me, I silently chose to watch the show. I am looking forward to seeing how far Rowan Jiang will go this time without my family's support. Shenhui and I enrolled in the top university, Jingda. Rowan Jiang went to the university next door, Shida. His grades were originally good enough to get into Jingda, but the university offers subsidies. The accommodation is cheap, and they promised to give him a certain allowance every month. I ran into Rowan Jiang with Shenhui. His frivolous gaze scanned Shenhui from top to bottom, disdainfully mocking. "Pretty boy." This incident also happened in the last life. I liked him back then and always appeared by his side under various pretenses. Gradually, Rumors started to spread that he had hooked up with the young lady from the GU family and would never have to worry for the rest of his life. Once, I accompanied him to the cafeteria, and someone directly called him a kept man. Rowan Jiang's face darkened on the spot. The person speaking walked away smugly. And Rowan Jiang turned around, flipped my plate, and shouted at me to stay away from him in the future. Greasy food splattered all over me, and all the classmates around were staring at me. I still remember that feeling of shame so intense that I wished I didn't exist. I really regret not slapping him in the face right then and there. What is it? When others talk about him, he becomes furious. He has become someone else and mercilessly mocks those who stand in the position he once occupied. I was just about to lash out at him. Shenhui stepped forward and stared directly into Rowan Jiang's eyes. "You are jealous of me," a very straightforward tone, carrying a calmness that sees through everything. Rowan Jiang took a step back, trying to maintain his composure. "What do I have to be jealous of you for?" Shenhui took another step forward. "You are jealous that I can go to Peking University, but you can't. You are jealous that GU classmate chose me and not you. You are jealous that it is me standing next to GU classmate, not you." Shenhui's series of deadly moves made me want to applaud him. Rowan Jiang is clearly at a disadvantage. After all, he can't honestly say that he went to normal university because he looked down on Peking University. In the end, he could only throw down a "I can't be bothered to argue with you" and flee in defeat. Only then did Shenhui retract his sharp demeanor and obediently return to my side. "Aren't you angry?" I asked. "I know it's not like that," Shenhui replied. "Very good. At least this time the chosen one is mentally sound, unlike the last one, who became a traitor after just a couple of casual remarks from others. I thought that after this incident, with Jiang's proud self-esteem, he wouldn't bother me for a long time. I didn't expect that I underestimated his ability to bend and adapt. I was reading in the library when he came over. "Tessa GU, I'm giving you an opportunity to invest in my new energy company. As long as you put up 50 million, I will give you 0.1% of the original shares of the company." Rowan Jiang stood in front of my desk, hands resting on the surface, looking down at me. His eyes held 3 parts mockery, 3 parts indifference, 3 parts coldness, and 1 part condescension. He exuded an aura of a domineering CEO that reached the skies, but whose family is so cool and impressive when it comes to attracting investment. I kicked the table leg, pushed the chair away, and stood up. "You're too close to me." Rowan Jiang twisted his ankle and staggered to stand properly. "Very good. Although the aura of dominance still leaks out, it is finally not as suffocating as it used to be." The classmates around me who were reading were interrupted, and I was met with disapproving glances. "I sincerely apologize. I'm sorry. This student from another school was harassing me, and I couldn't hold back for a moment." "Who are you saying is harassing you?" Rowan Jiang raised his voice. Several tall boys among the students reading immediately stood up. Rowan Jiang instantly wilted. "It's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding." I indicated that it was nothing, and only then did those few boys sit back down. Rowan Jiang then lowered his voice and threatened me through gritted teeth. "Tessa GU, don't go too far." I shrugged, indicating that his threat was useless. Rowan Jiang was furious, but still had to endure and negotiate with me. "Tessa GU, have you thought it through? If you don't invest in my company, don't blame me when your family goes bankrupt. I gave you a chance." Rowan Jiang looked down on me from above, like a lofty creator gazing at the dolls in his cabinet. I suddenly understood what he meant. Yes, in my past life, I forced my family to invest all their cash flow to support his startup, even to the point of threatening my own life. Then, due to a break in the funding chain, my family almost went bankrupt. It was his core technology that made breakthrough progress during that period, which allowed us to secure new funding and helped the GU family get through the crisis. No wonder he always acted so arrogant in front of me. It turns out he has always considered himself a benefactor of my family. If it weren't for giving him a large sum of cash, how could the GU Corporation have faced a cash flow crisis? A person like him, even if reborn, would only remember the outcomes that benefit himself. The process is completely unimportant. Understanding his thought process. I definitely won't be polite to him. Do you have the company qualifications to attract investment? Do you have a team? Do you have a business plan? Do you have an investment return report? Rowan Jiang couldn't answer a single question. I looked at him with disdain. You come to me for investment with nothing to show for it. On what basis? Do you think you can get away with that face? I clearly intended to mock him, but he seemed to have gone somewhere else, looking at me with a face full of shame and anger. Tessa Gu, don't think that just because you have a little money, you can do whatever you want. I will absolutely not yield to you. If you don't invest in me, then forget it. I'm waiting to see you regret it. Then he jogged out of the library. It seems to have a strange sense of being lightly mocked, but I swear, I really just didn't want to spend money on him. Rowan Jiang still managed to secure the investment. I heard it was Xie Qinghan who helped him find the funding, 5 million, in exchange for 51% of the original shares of his newly established company. Rowan Jiang instantly became a prominent figure at school. He was studying the best teacher training program at the Normal University, but those courses were of no use to his entrepreneurial endeavors. He never attended classes. When a teacher criticized him for being unprofessional, he retorted without hesitation, asking the teacher how many years of salary would equal the 5 million investment he received. After that, no one ever cared about him again. I know about Rowan Jiang's startup project. He is a smart person. In his past life, he entered the new energy vehicle industry, mainly researching battery endurance issues. I liked him back then, and of course, I thought he was full of talent. I used my family's connections to get him into the best energy science and engineering program at Kyoto University. He focused on his studies for 4 years at school, and then after entering graduate school, he started a company with his advisor, and now, he is just a new college freshman. Even if he has memories from his past life, can Mr. Jiang, who has been a CEO for many years and has long been away from the technical frontlines, really succeed in starting a business with technology developed on his own? I am watching with great anticipation. Rowan Jiang formed a startup team. He searched for those who had worked with him in his previous life. Unfortunately, only a few people with similar conditions were fooled by him and joined him. As for his mentor from the last life, I heard he was rejected without even meeting him. Just kidding, that person is a top-notch expert in the industry. Why would he pay attention to a poor student from an unrelated school? I'm different. Using the alumni connection, with an initial investment of 30 million, I happily reached a collaboration with Professor Zhong. By the way, I also included Shen Huai. Anyway, he is also studying this major. Joining Professor Zhong's team early, I can directly pursue a combined master's and doctoral program. How great! Shen Huai didn't stay long before he started sharing with me the complaints from the senior students about Rowan Jiang. For example, Rowan Jiang issued the command, "I want all the competitors' information within 3 minutes." His senior brother huffed and puffed as he opened the data statistics website, clicking away until he reached the point where a membership was required to continue the search, then turned the computer screen towards Rowan Jiang. The overwhelming aura of dominance emanating from Rowan Jiang, which was higher than an 18-story building, instantly deflated upon seeing the membership fee. That was a full 300,000. For Rowan Jiang, who had the GU family backing in the last life, this was merely a few lines of free background information. But this time, he would have to personally experience just how expensive fresh data can be. Naturally, the membership had not been activated. An hour later, Rowan Jiang tossed them a list of several companies and told them to check on the new product situation. There is very little information available for checking. There is even one that hasn't been established at all. When my senior went to report, he was scolded by Rowan Jiang for half an hour. He said those few companies are industry leaders. So how could there be only this little information? There's little money but a lot of trouble. The senior brother couldn't take it anymore and had a big fight with Rowan Jiang. Directly quitting his job, after returning, he complained to Shen Huai and the others about Rowan Jiang, saying he doesn't have the fate of a domineering CEO but has all the traits of one. I personally think the summary is very accurate. Rowan Jiang has always been very proud. In my past life, everything went smoothly because I used the resources of the GU family to support him. For data The strategy department of the GU family is a yearly member of all major professional databases, plans. There are more than 10 managers under him, each specializing in their own part, compiling everything to submit, and then presented by Rowan Jiang, to achieve technological breakthroughs. Dozens of technical backbones in the laboratory work day and night, obtaining patent results, all signed with the name Rowan Jiang. It is these people who gradually bestow the halo upon Rowan Jiang, making him a technological genius and a new business elite. Yet he always believes that it is himself who is shining, illuminating others. At that time, I was blind and really thought he was a hidden gem. Rowan Jiang's startup team didn't last long. Just when they had achieved some results, someone left with the core technology. Of course, what Rowan Jiang meant was theft, but in reality, it was someone else who applied for the patent, with Rowan Jiang's name on it. That person took the technology to a rich second-generation company, earning 10 times what he made under Rowan Jiang. Rowan Jiang was furious and went to that person's company to cause a scene, resulting in a fight with the rich second generation, and they both ended up in the hospital. I received the news and quickly notified Xie Qinghan to rush to the hospital together. In the last life, that rich second-generation heir had no intention of letting Rowan Jiang off easily. It was at a great cost to me that I managed to keep him. This time, let's see how Xie Qinghan performs. In the hospital room, Rowan Jiang lay alone on the bed, his leg in a cast, elevated high. On the other side, the rich second-generation heir sat in a wheelchair, his head wrapped in several layers of bandages, with several burly men standing behind him. Rowan Jiang's face turned pale with fear. It was indeed quite frightening. When I single-handedly held them off outside the hospital room to negotiate, I was actually quite scared inside. However, this time it was much better. This time I'm here to watch the show. Rowan Jiang relaxed a lot when he saw me and Xie Qinghan, especially when he saw me. A sense of superiority appeared on his face, as if to say, I knew this woman couldn't let go of me. There was even a hint of dissatisfaction about how late I arrived. I really wanted to rush up and give him a couple of punches. The rich second generation noticed his gaze and directly turned to me, asking, "Are you his girlfriend?" I quickly waved my hands and stepped back. I was just passing by. Rowan Jiang glared at me angrily, and upon seeing Xie Qinghan beside me, there was a hint of understanding in her expression. She probably imagined that I was jealous. I quickly stepped back a little further to avoid being infected by her stupidity. The rich second generation indeed turned to Xie Qinghan. Xie Qinghan took a step forward. Rowan Jiang's gaze towards her immediately became tender and sparkling. Don't misunderstand, I am just an ordinary classmate of his, and I see that there is a misunderstanding between you two. It would be good to clarify things. Xie Qinghan turned to face the rich second-generation heir, tucking her hair behind her ear, revealing her delicate jawline. Misunderstanding? I don't have any misunderstanding. My head was smashed by him, and I'm here to ask him for compensation. The rich second generation looked at Xie Qinghan with ill intentions. Xie Qinghan shyly lowered her head. The rich second generation let out a cold snort. What, are you going to help him pay? Xie Qinghan was still that delicate and weak appearance. Not really. I just want to see if you can, for my sake, ask for a little less. The rich second generation strokes his chin. Sure, I was supposed to negotiate a deal today. Worth 100 million. He smashed my head and caused me to miss the deal. He should have compensated me. Give him a 10% discount for your sake, and just compensate me with 90 million. Brother, be generous. The rich second generation is asking for a lot. Xie Qinghan's expression changed, and there was no trace of shyness on her face. I am not familiar with this classmate. If you have something to discuss, it's better to talk to him directly. After saying that, she didn't even glance at Rowan Jiang and quickly walked out of the ward. The light in Rowan Jiang's eyes visibly extinguished. No one stepped forward, and the rich second generation continued to glare at Rowan Jiang like a fierce demon. If the compensation doesn't satisfy me, I'll send you to jail. It was the same in the last life. Although both of them were injured, Rowan Jiang was the one who struck first. If the other party insists on not reaching a settlement, he will definitely bear criminal responsibility. Rowan Jiang is also well aware of this. In my past life, I secretly exchanged the most profitable business line of the GU family with a rich second generation, not only saving Rowan Jiang but also helping him retrieve the core technology that was taken away. This time, he has no money, no power, and still dares to charge into someone else's company alone. He probably still thinks I will cover for him. Sure enough, Rowan Jiang looked at me. Tessa GU. As long as you help me solve this matter, I will. I'll be your boyfriend. After he finished speaking, he tightly closed his eyes and turned his head to the side. It was as if he had suffered a tremendous humiliation. In my past life, I was concerned about his injuries and afraid that he would feel too much pressure, so I never told him the price I paid from beginning to end. This time, however, I want him to see for himself what he has truly lost. I deliberately pretended to be moved, eagerly looking at the rich second-generation heir, and asked in a very Cheong Yao-like tone, "Tell me, what will it take for you to let him go?" As a result, someone from the wealthy second generation recognized me, and the compensation demanded by the rich heir not only did not decrease but increased instead. "Oh, it's the young lady of the GU family. It's all my fault for not recognizing a great person. We're all on the same side, so let's not talk about money, it's vulgar. If you want me to let you go, you little pretty boy, it's simple, trade it for Gu's retail channels." The rich second generation smiled at me. Rowan Jiang opened his eyes and turned his head suddenly. In his past life, he had taken over the GU family, so he naturally knew what the GU family's retail channels meant. I pretended to hesitate. Rowan Jiang's expression clearly began to change. He must be remembering why the GU family's retail channels in the last life were provided to others for free. It's all for him. I smiled mischievously in the incredibly moved gaze of Rowan Jiang. If he really is the kept man I raised, I paid this money, so it is what it is. But some people can't see their own position and get dirty because of others. I certainly don't have a hobby of collecting trash. I rolled my eyes at Rowan Jiang with great disdain and left the hospital room in a domineering manner. TSK, it's really refreshing. Rowan Jiang was not sent in. What the rich second generation wants is not money, he wants the project in Rowan Jiang's hands. Rowan Jiang was forced to hand over the entire startup team to the rich second generation. She even signed a contract of servitude, becoming an employee under the rich second generation. It is said that before graduation, she could only be considered an intern, receiving a monthly stipend of 1,000 yuan. After Xie Qinghan found out, she immediately confronted Rowan Jiang. The 5 million investment she gave him was pulled from a wealthy boyfriend of hers. Not only has she not seen a penny in returns, but she has also lost the principal completely. That boyfriend suspected she was colluding with a pretty boy to scam money, and in a fit of anger, he dumped her. Xie Qinghan was so angry that she had to go find Rowan Jiang. It is said that the two of them went back and forth several times, and in the end, Rowan Jiang compromised and signed a promissory note for 5 million, at his current subsidy of 1,000 per unit. He probably won't be able to pay it back in his next life. I laughed at Xie Qinghan's foolishness in my heart, but soon I couldn't smile anymore. That shameless Rowan Jiang actually turned around and set his sights on me again. Early in the morning, I set off from the dormitory to attend class. As soon as I came downstairs, I saw Rowan Jiang waiting at the door. He was holding a transparent plastic bag, which contained 2 large steamed buns bought from the cafeteria. "Tessa," when he saw me, he quickly ran over. "Here, your favorite big steamed bun." He handed me the bun, thinking he looked cool as he tossed his head. I felt so disgusted that I almost threw up my dinner from the night before. Rowan Jiang is not stupid. He naturally noticed my disdain. He frowned with thick black eyebrows, looking very impatient. "Don't like it? You weren't like this before." Stopped speaking halfway through. I couldn't help but sneer at his expression, as if he was afraid of letting something slip. "Before, that's right. From a past life. It was that time he threw his tray at me in the cafeteria, and I lost face, forcing myself not to confront him for a whole week. It is said that he was targeted pretty badly that week, and he couldn't help it, so he brought me breakfast, 2 cold, hard steamed buns. Now that I think about it, I even suspect that they were leftovers from the day before, but at that time, I was in love. My mind is filled with the thought that Rowan Jiang actually bought me breakfast. It was Rowan Jiang, personally, specifically, who bought me breakfast. I stubbornly chewed down 2 steamed buns. Even though I had a stomachache for 3 days afterward, I continued to happily chase after Rowan Jiang. I really want to go back and give my past self 2 big slaps. I don't like eating steamed buns. She doesn't like eating steamed buns. I turned my head, and Shenhui had somehow walked up behind me. He is holding a pink thermos with both hands, and on top of the thermos is a glass bottle of fresh milk. I told you that you don't have to buy me breakfast every day. I feel quite embarrassed. Skipping breakfast is not good for your stomach. Shenhui handed me the milk. Once, when I had a stomach ache, he happened to see me, and I inadvertently mentioned that I might not have had breakfast. From that day on, he prepared breakfast for me in various ways every day, rain or shine, without fail. I took the milk, the temperature is just right, and it tastes quite good. Seeing that no one was paying attention to him, Rowan Jiang snorted coldly and turned to leave. As he passed by the trash can, he deliberately slammed it hard. The bun hit the side of the trash can and fell back to the ground with a bang. Rowan Jiang didn't look back. No manners, I pouted. Wasting food is indeed not good. Shenhui handed the lunchbox to me, walked over to pick up the steamed bun, tore off the plastic bag, and placed it in the spot where classmates often feed stray cats. At that moment, I felt he was a bit radiant. Rowan Jiang did not give up. He always has a way of suddenly appearing by my side, like a fly that just won't go away. I was in class, and he took a seat early, waving at me from a distance. I directly complained to the teacher that someone was affecting my studies. I went to the cafeteria to eat, and he was in the long line telling me to hurry and stand in front of him. I turned and went to the small stir-fry cafeteria on the 3rd floor. I went home for the weekend, and he waited downstairs, saying he wanted to walk with me. I handed my bag to the assistant and turned to get into the luxury car that came to pick me up. I was quite annoyed. After Shenhui found out, he made more time to accompany me. He is already very busy with his studies and has to participate in the professor's project group, leaving him with very little time to rest. But he has never been hurried or flustered when he is with me. In the evening, after he finishes studying, we feed the stray cats together downstairs in the dormitory. The little cats are both cautious and greedy. I broke the codfish sausage into small pieces and placed them in my palm. The kittens came over, drawn by the smell. The soft, wet little tongues licked my palm, tickling and tingling, making my heart almost melt. I can't believe I'm a little jealous of a cat. Shenhui suddenly spoke, his voice low, almost inaudible. I turned my head and saw his pair of bright, glistening eyes. I only then realized how close I was to him. Our arms were touching, and through the thin fabric of our sleeves, I seemed to feel his body heat. A gentle breeze brushed by, carrying a fragrance of grass and trees. It's not a tree, it's Shenhui. I tilted my head slightly, feeling a bit intoxicated. What are you all doing? A furious shout broke the silence. Rowan Jiang stood behind us, his face full of rage. The kittens were startled and scattered in all directions. Rowan Jiang's gaze was locked onto me, as if he wanted to rush over and tear me apart in the next second. Shenhui stood up and blocked me. I dropped the remaining bits of codfish sausage from my hand, stood up, dusted off my hands, and walked out from behind Shenhui. What gives you the right to ask me that? I maintained a blank expression and stared directly into Rowan Jiang's eyes. I am. Rowan Jiang's voice was hoarse, as if his throat was locked. His expression changed from anger to confusion, from confusion to regret, and finally revealed a hint of pain. You are mine. He looked at me stubbornly, as if I were the most precious treasure in the world. Unfortunately, I don't believe that's true. Even if it were true, it's too late. I restrained my emotions and turned to face Shenhui. Go back early. Shenhui nodded. I'll watch you go up first. Okay. I turned and went upstairs. Rowan Jiang keeps calling me from behind. I keep walking without looking back. Rowan Jiang is just a pit of mud in my past life. I stepped into it, not only getting covered in mud but also causing my own and my family's downfall. This time, all I want to do is avoid him. Rowan Jiang no longer clung to me. Shenhuai's frequency of coming to see me hasn't changed. Having breakfast together in the morning and taking walks to feed the cats in the evening has almost become a fixed routine, until one day, Shenhuai did not show up from morning till night. I felt a bit uneasy and asked his senior brother. The senior brother also said he hadn't seen him in the lab and couldn't reach him to get some materials. I used my family's connections to investigate and found out that he left the school late last night and then went missing. Further investigation revealed that the last place he was seen was a dirty and chaotic alley. That area was Shenhuai's home. I recalled his alcoholic father and the injury he had on his face when I first met him. I quickly gathered people and rushed over. A small and dilapidated house, with even the walls being black, a big man reeking of alcohol, leaning against the wall with a bottle in hand. When he saw someone coming, he merely raised his hand to block the sunlight coming in, then continued drinking. "Where is Shenhuai?" I asked. The big man ignored me. The person I brought shook him a few times, and only then did he hiccup and drunkenly say, "I've been taken away, little brat," thinking I wouldn't be able to find him if he didn't come back. "Isn't there someone who came looking for him to pay off my debts?" The drunkard swayed with a bottle in hand, and something flashed through my mind, but I couldn't grasp it in time. In the end, someone went up and slapped him twice, and only then did he beg for mercy, revealing the name of the creditor, Biao Ji. I rushed over with my people without stopping. Biao Ji agreed to let me bring only one person in to talk to him. Seeing that there were many people, I agreed without hesitation. Shenhuai was locked in an empty room, with a table and a stool in the middle. Shenhuai sat on the stool, his head pressed down on the table, facing a promissory note. He was covered in blood, yet he still gritted his teeth and remained silent. "The young man is quite tough." Brother Biao waved his hand, and the little brother let go of Shenhuai. Only then did Shenhuai notice me, his eyes widening in anger. "How did you end up here?" Shenhuai tried to get up, but was firmly held down by someone. "Don't be in a hurry, young man. I see your little sweetheart has good conditions. Maybe I can help you pay off your father's gambling debts, and you two can leave in peace. Wouldn't that be nice?" Brother Biao walked over, picked up the IOU, and spread it out in front of me. "Beautiful lady. Looking at your outfit, you must not care about this 100 or so thousand. If you help this young man pay it off, I will respectfully escort you both out. How about that?" I glanced at the amount on the IOU, over 1,200,000. "I'll pay," I agreed without hesitation. Shenhuai's gaze dimmed for a moment, then he suddenly struggled violently. "Bring me the IOU, I'll sign it, I'll sign it, don't look for her." Shenhuai's voice carried a hint of tears. I felt quite heartbroken and just wanted to pay the money and take him away quickly. As a little brother of Biao Ji whispered something in his ear, Biao Ji's expression immediately changed. "It's the young lady from the Jiu family. My apologies, this is worth hundreds of thousands. If I go out and say that Biao Ji looks down on you." Biao Ji waved his hand, and someone handed over a new IOU. "The amount is 100 million, with a daily interest rate of 1%. Brother Biao points to the signature area. "Miss Gu, please sign here, and we can all discuss it. This is a bit greedy." I pressed my lips together and said nothing. Biao Ji's little brothers slowly surrounded us. The bodyguards I brought were on high alert. Both sides were at a standstill when someone broke through the door. "It's the police." I had already instructed to call the police before I entered. The speed of the police uncle really didn't disappoint me. Biao and the others were clearly panicking. Someone nervously pulled out a gun and aimed it at me. In the moment the gun fired, my mind went blank. It wasn't until the warm blood dripped onto my hand that I felt myself wrapped tightly in a warm embrace. It was Shenhuai. Biao Ji was arrested. Shenhuai was admitted to the hospital. During the investigation, it was discovered that Rowan Jiang had called Shenhuai out in the middle of the night. Unfortunately, he insisted that he was just delivering a message for Shenhuai's father. Unable to convict, Rowan Jiang left the police station after taking a statement. But both Shenhuai and I know that this matter is closely related to him. During Shenhuai's hospitalization, Rowan Jiang shamelessly came to visit. Shenhuai's shoulder was injured, and he was half lying on the bed. I was feeding him bird's nest soup beside him. He was originally a bit embarrassed, As soon as Rowan Jiang entered the room, he took the spoon I handed him in his mouth and slowly drank, signaling me for more with his eyes. I was amused. Rowan Jiang looked at us with a gloomy expression, his face twisted. Tessa Gu, what does he have that is worth it? The son of a gambler, is he really worth you like this? Or are you saying that you enjoy this kind of pleasure in manipulating the children of poor families? Rowan Jiang has already gone a bit mad. He doesn't even hide the fact that he has been reborn anymore, but his accusations only make me laugh. Toying with, in my past life, I sacrificed the entire Gu family for him. He calls this playing with me, but I am already too lazy to argue with him. Rowan Jiang, you are not welcome here. Please leave. I directly issued an eviction order. Rowan Jiang, however, did not turn and leave like before. He walked up to me, squatted down, and tried to hold my hand. I avoided it. He looks a bit angry, but he is still trying to suppress his temper. Tessa, don't mess with me. Let's go back to the way things were. If you stay by my side, I will never treat you badly again. Is it good or not? There was a hint of pleading in his expression. I deliberately smiled at him. Then, as a light gradually brightened in his eyes, I gently said to him, I don't want it, just like in my past life. I desperately begged him to spare the Gu family and my parents. He held Xie Qinghan's hand and stepped on mine, saying, I don't want it. Shen Hui recovered very quickly. On the first day the doctor approved his discharge. He reported back to the laboratory. My parents were scared by what happened with Biao Ji, so I could only run between school and home. Life was very peaceful, until one day I noticed my dad looking a bit worried. When I asked, I found out that something had gone wrong with the family business. A long-time client was suddenly snatched away by someone else. When bidding, our bottom line is always figured out by the competitors. Even the retail channels we have always been proud of are frequently interfered with. The one interfering is none other than the rich second generation who fought with Rowan Jiang. They are making noise here and there. While it doesn't seriously harm the Gu family, it is still quite annoying. My dad is impatient with these small matters and has left them all to me. I know in my heart that all of this is Rowan Jiang taking advantage of memories from a past life. But it's hard to find evidence for such things. Then we can only start with the new energy project. Rowan Jiang's team has not been very successful since being taken over by the rich second-generation team. After encountering frequent setbacks, he thought of Professor Zhong, who had collaborated with me. He has been privately in contact with Professor Zhong, but he doesn't know that Professor Zhong often tells me jokes about him. When things didn't work out with Professor Zhong, he started to target senior brother Shen Hui. Shen Hui told me that someone seems to have taken an interest, but there hasn't been any actual action yet. I originally wanted Professor Zhong to transfer that senior brother off the project. Now, I have Shen Hui keep an eye on that senior brother, so as not to alert the snake in the grass. The new energy project is making progress quickly. Professor Zhong is applying for a patent in the name of joint research with the students. The patent has just been granted, and Rowan Jiang has taken Professor Zhong and our Gu family to court. The accusation is that we stole their technology. The witness is the senior brother he bribed. Not only that, he also brought this matter online, attempting to use public opinion to damage the reputation of the Gu family. Tessa Gu, as long as you obediently return to my side, I will withdraw the lawsuit. Before the court hearing, Rowan Jiang looked at me with determination. It's really funny. In my past life, I followed him wholeheartedly, but he discarded me like a worn-out shoe. In this life, I suppress him at every turn, yet he still eagerly seeks me out. You're dreaming. I gave a cold smile and brushed past him. In the courtroom, Rowan Jiang was arrogant, holding various data for comparison, proving that they were the first to develop it. And we only presented 2 pieces of evidence. One is video footage, the surveillance video showing the bought senior student illegally copying laboratory data and privately handing it over to Rowan Jiang. The other is a comparison of the actual core data. The data that the senior brother copied is not the real data at all, and Rowan Jiang, holding 2 completely different sets of data, accused us of plagiarism. The verdict is beyond doubt. Moreover, our lawyer filed a counterclaim in court. Rowan Jiang instructed others to steal data. which constitutes unfair competition. Unjustly accusing our side of plagiarism is slander. Spreading false information online damages business reputation. Multiple charges are established, and a case is filed in court. Although a verdict cannot be announced on the spot, Rowan Jiang cannot escape. Before the verdict is delivered, Rowan Jiang asked to meet me for the last time. I went. Shen Huai also went, waiting for me not far away. Rowan Jiang looked at Shen Huai's departing figure and sneered, "I didn't expect you to still dare to like a poor boy." I know, he realized that I have also been reborn. Ungratefulness and repaying kindness with enmity are issues of character, not of poverty. I'm too lazy to hide it anymore. You really have been reborn. You are just like me. We are kindred spirits. Rowan Jiang looked at me with piercing eyes. I really wonder how thick-skinned he must be to think I would ever change my mind about him. Rowan Jiang, it's rare for me to call his name. He looked over with anticipation in his eyes. I smiled. I don't know if you still remember, but you have an IOU for 5 million. Rowan Jiang's expression stiffened. I couldn't be bothered to engage in pleasantries with him anymore. Rowan Jiang, to be honest, I am very happy to see you like this now. In the last life, it was I who liked you, which made you always feel superior to me. It was my affection that allowed you to step on my shoulders and reach places that originally did not belong to you. But not only were you ungrateful, you also complained that my ladder was dirty. I spotted Rowan Jiang at a glance. He enjoyed all my contributions while wishing to trample me into the mud. If I could do it all over again, I still wouldn't owe you anything. I merely took back what I once gave you, but look at you. I smiled gently. This is where you were originally meant to be. Rowan Jiang's face turned pale, and he collapsed in despair. He can no longer maintain the pride that I once nurtured with countless love and money. Shen Huai came to pick me up, not even glancing at Rowan Jiang. My heart and eyes were filled only with me. I am a poor boy. He lowered his eyelashes, looking somewhat desolate. I was just about to comfort him, but he raised his face and looked at me with a bright smile. But I won't always be like this. He waved his phone at me, and there was a text message lying inside. Your new patent application has been approved.